Welcome to Beyond Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Petralis, and we are super excited for today's guest. Like, I'm pumped. Like, I follow this dude on social media, and I was put on him by Exceed, our friends over at Exceed, and this dude lives a life, man. And I'm just so interested in him and in it, and he's involved in a lot of cool things. And once in a while, I get to have that guest that's a little bit different than what we maybe cover, but a former collegiate football player at Merrimack, and Merrimack's made that jump to D1 over the last few years. So a program that is a very good program that this guy played for. So there's a million different things I could say about him right now, but is a celebrity bodyguard, fitness. He's actually, I think, training for bodybuilding, like Mr. America, Mr. Olympic type stuff. Super strong dude, monster. Played football at Merrimack. As I said, celebrity body guy, no for Kevin Gates. So without further ado, our man, West Coast time, by the way, we're doing this at a later East Coast time to the West Coast. So this is kind of fun too. So without further ado, Dillon Salva.
So, bro, appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, to me, you're D Scuddy. That's how I look at you on Instagram and social media. So I mentioned a little bit that we got put on to you by our friends over at Exceed, and they sent us some really good guests that we've had on this podcast, truthfully, over the last like month and a half, 2 months, that are just like all studs in their own outright of what they do and what they're involved in. But dude, I felt like you and I connected like super early on, like just social media wise, and then liking each other's stuff, posting stuff on each other's story. I definitely felt like we connected a little bit, but I wanted to give you a chance because you're a collegiate football player too. You played at Merrimack, and obviously you trained with over our guys over at Exceed, and I know they trained plenty of guys that played Division I college and even gone to combines and made NFL squads and everything else. So these guys know what they're talking about a little bit. So let us know a little bit about you, Exceed yourself. You're a collegiate guy, played football. Let us know all about it.
Yeah, bro. So I actually played football and basketball at Merrimack. So I played
Oh,
for
okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I played for current and Coach Gallo, who's still there. Um, I was there for Gallo's first season, so that was pretty cool. And he actually played basketball at the same high school as me. He's from a town over from me in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, my goal was always to play in the NFL since like fifth grade. And I was going to give it a shot either way, but I didn't know until our very last game, my senior year against New Haven. I caught a touchdown, and my uncle in New Jersey was watching the live stream online, and he said the announcer said something like, "And that's why the Patriots are very high on tight end Dillon Salva, this and that." And that was kind of the first time I found out. Kern didn't tell me that teams have been rolling through um, scouting me. So, and actually to jump back, Coach Kern actually did probably something that changed my life. I'll carry it with me for the rest of my life. So I went in my junior year and I started immediately at tight end. It was the whole team. We had a rough season my junior year. I played with two pulled and one torn hip flexor pretty much the whole season from like game 3 on. And I had a little learning curve. It was tough learning the plays, but it all clicked in spring ball that year. So I was thinking I'm going to come in, have a killer senior year. And my first day at camp, he had me as third string on the depth chart. And the first when I saw it, I was like, man, fuck this. Like, I'm gonna go. Can I curse on here? My bad.
Yeah, dude, do your thing. Do your thing.
I was like, man, fuck. I called my dad. I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm gonna play and just have fun and get ready for basketball because I know I'm gonna kill it this year in basketball. And my dad was like, look, like you love football, just come back tomorrow and hurt everybody. Not in a bad way, but just go out there and smack dudes, like really put the hammer down on everybody. So I came back that next day and I must have laid out half the defense. Like I was smoking dudes, pancakes, crackbacks. I was just killing it. And I kind of carried that with me the rest of the season. And I feel like that was an edge that Coach Curran gave me. And I think he did that indirectly by, starting me out as third team as a senior.
Yeah.
And it changed my mentality the rest of my life. Kind of gives you that like underdog, like you got to earn everything you do type of thing. So yeah, I once I found out at after the last game my senior year that I was getting scouted heavily, Coach Curran sent me right over to Shane and Sean at Exceed, and that was kind of what always gave me the edge in sports is in the off season. I might have not been doing field work every single day, but I was a huge weight room guy and I was always getting my cardio in. I might not have been doing drills every single day, but I felt like I was one of the guys who carried everything over from the weight room to the field. And when I got to exceed, I just fell in love with it from day one. My combine numbers were going up weekly. By
So
the
you
time
put
my
the
pro
work
day
in. You
came
put the work
around,
in.
what's up?
I said you put the work in. You put the work in to kind of see that jump with those guys for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it was kind of inevitable, right? Like they're giving you the recipe to success to go into your pro day and put up the best numbers you could possibly put up. And I ended up with one of the best all-around pro days in the country for tight ends. So, it really was a testament to the program that they put us through. And all we had to do was kind of just come and do the work. They held our hands through the whole process. And, I still think about those days daily, like just waking up and going to exceed and working our ass off. And you feel like you accomplish something daily with those guys.
Now, when you say teams, and they mentioned the Patriots were high on you, what other teams were you hearing at that time maybe had an interest in you outside of New England?
So there was, I don't remember every team, but I do remember the number. There was 18 teams total.
Okay.
The day before the draft, my agent called me up and he said, I just got off the phone with Coach Johnson, the tight end coach with the Jets. They're going to take you in the 6th or 7th round. So I almost got drafted. They ended up taking Hendron or Heron, something, the tight end out of Miami, because he had torn his ACL, but he passed the physical. So they took him. I ended up going undrafted to the Redskins. They were the Redskins at the time. Did rookie mini camp. I did real well. And then I was in OTAs with the Falcons, and I was the last tight end they let go right before preseason. So that was kind of my short stint, but
Yeah.
it was a great process.
It's unbelievable. I mean, they go through that experience that many people don't get to go through, dude. You're playing for NFL teams, fighting for NFL spots, and like you're good enough, man. You're that 1% or 2% that can play that game at a physical high level. So no, much love to you, dude. And so let me just go backwards to Merrimack a little bit. I mean, how were you recruited out of high school for football and basketball, or was it kind of like a one sport, hey, I want to play both type thing? Because that's not easy at any level, but at that level, playing both of those is quite a task.
Yeah, so football and basketball in high school, I pretty much dominated in both, and both teams I was on was really good. I mean, I didn't go a single year where we didn't make the state playoffs in both sports, where we didn't win our division. So we were a good team. We had a good program for both sports, and I had offers for both. Football really hit when we got a new coach my senior year. Man, I had unfortunately, once I started to get offers, I kind of I decided to have more fun in the classroom than actually do my work. So if there's any high school kids listening to this, you can still have fun and get your work done. I learned that in college. But once I'll never forget, I was walking down the hallway about to get ready for practice, and my coach was behind me. He goes, "Hey, Salva." He's like, I turn around. He's like, "You want to play in the SEC?" And I just smile. I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "I just got off the phone with Coach Franklin at Vanderbilt. They're gonna offer you if you get this class up to a B." So I'm thinking like, "Oh, I got the SEC. Like that, it's gonna be endless now." And then I had Boston College D-line coach come work me out. I had offers from Temple, Mid Tennessee State, Houston, and this was 2012, right? So a lot of these teams, like they were all in the top 25 that year, like Houston, Temple. Those teams they were blowing up that year. Yeah, like Mid Tennessee State. I committed to Monmouth, but then I got called 10 days before camp. They said they couldn't get me in. My ACT was good enough, but my GPA wasn't. So I had a bunch of offers, and then I had to go to a Division III school. But I quickly realized, if I didn't get out of there, that I wasn't even gonna be a good Division III athlete. And there's nothing wrong with Division III. I played with some amazing athletes. But you kind of know your place, right? Like where you deserve to be playing. And as a younger man, you see different things for yourself. I was still thankful for the opportunity, but I knew I had to get out of there. Like, they even said they told the basketball coach at the school my roommate played for that I was the biggest football recruit in school history. and I just couldn't progress, and I just felt like I was wasting everyone's time, even the coaches. So I went to a JUCO, and I took a gray shirt and I played basketball. So I didn't even play football my third year of college because I got a medical red shirt my freshman year,
Yeah.
and then I went to Brookdale. That was if that was a 4-year school, Brookdale, I would have stayed there for
Yeah.
the longevity of college. Merrimack was the best time I ever had in my life, but after Brookdale, I did have a Division I offer to St. Peter's, that team that made a run in the tournament a year or two
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
Jersey City, because I was a Jersey guy. I just had to go do a workout with the team. We were just going to play pickup, and the coach said, you pretty much don't come out here and lay an egg. You got a scholarship. But Merrimack at the time was saying, this was Coach Mike Romanella. He was there my junior year and then went to scout for the Cleveland Browns my senior year. But I'll never forget, he called me up. I was on spring break in Gainesville at the University of Florida, and he was like, bro, I was at the pool. We had some Bud Lights cracked. I was chilling with two of my best friends. We were having a good time. And he was like, bro, if you don't commit today, like, I might lose my job. Like, I don't, like, you might lose your scholarship, but you got to commit. So I'm on the phone. I'm like, all right, I'll commit. So I committed, and then me and my boys just partied the rest of spring break. But that was kind of my whole high school. I had a good amount of offers, but
Yeah.
I feel like I ended up where I was supposed to for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it, dude. So you graduated then. Did you play with Nicholas Desjardins? He
Where at
graduated
Merrimack?
at Merrimack. Yeah, he graduated where I coached him 08, so he would have played like 08, 09, 10. So maybe I might have just missed him then, but he was
I
there.
didn't get to Merrimack till like 16.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said like 12. My bad, dude. My bad. Okay.
No, that's
Yeah.
when I graduated high school, but then I went to the two other colleges, and
Gotcha. Okay. Now I'm putting
yeah.
the map together. Yeah. So he played there. He was a kid that I coached at high school, played at Merrimack, came back. We coached together for a while, but a real good defensive end. They did a lot of fun stuff with him there. But yeah, my bad. I put the math together wrong there. But real familiar with Merrimack, real big fans of what they're doing there too, as well as, academically, but obviously athletically and what they're trying to become. So it's cool to see. So I got to ask you then. So obviously the NFL, you had your tryouts, you realize, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And now you're on the West Coast kind of killing it. So did that kind of lead to that? I mean, you're into the bodybuilding, you're into the, BodyGuard, I see you on social media, and that's what made me really gravitate to you. But let's talk about your story a little bit now. Football didn't maybe work out the way you wanted it to. What was your next step into saying, hey, this is what I kind of want to do?
Yeah, so I pretty much went back to New Jersey and just reevaluated everything. Um, and I got my training certificates to be a personal trainer, but I always knew, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't care what gym you're at in the world, and no matter where in the world, if you're a trainer, you're not making good money. Like, I don't care what someone thinks good money is. Like, you can make good enough money to get by and live the most normal life possible, but you're not going to make good money. Like, I don't care what anyone says. And you can burn yourself out doing 35 sessions a week. You're still not making good money. It's decent. Um, so I immediately just got my certificates and started my own brand through social media and made a website and all that. And because I was like, man, I love this. So, but I'm not going to allow myself to fall into that, gym where you're just, working for someone else. They're taking the majority of your money. Cause I did that right after college to just get my feet wet in training.
Like you knew your stuff.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not, it don't make sense. There's the gyms are stealing from you and you're doing all the work. So I started posting videos of me working out, throwing around really heavy weight, going crazy in the gym, as well as in New Jersey. And I ended up on Fetty Wapp's For You page like a couple of days in a row, he told me. So he DM'd me and asked me if I'd be his trainer. And I kind of looked at it as like, I had what it took to make the NFL and be at the very top of that profession. I'm not going to settle for anything less in any other profession. So my goal was to be a celebrity trainer. And then it naturally happened. So I started training him for a while, and then we became like best friends super quick. He asked me if I wanted to be his bodyguard so we could start hanging out more and I could make more money. And then that's how I fell into bodyguarding. I never really had plans on doing it. Obviously, I knew I could do it. It's not you know, to a certain extent. Like, it's really not what people think. Like, you're there to diffuse the situation, and you should know how to handle yourself if something goes down. But it really is supposed to be like the calmest job on earth. You don't want anything to happen, you know.
Yeah.
So
So hold
I
on. So
started.
he asked you to do that, right? So like, what is like? Tell me a time that like something that you have to like de-escalate or take care of. Like, give me a scenario in which like you might. I mean, first of all, dude, how big? You got to be like what, 6'5", 6'6"? How big are you?
Yeah, I'm 6'5", like 265 right now.
Yeah, dude. So you're a monster. Obviously, he sees the value. You're a good dude, fun dude to be around. Yeah, I feel really safe around you too. But like, name like, is there a time you had to diffuse something? Like, what's the biggest thing you've kind of had to do as far as diffusing a situation,
Um,
or if any?
See, fortunately for me, in the just in the bodyguard aspect, Fetty and Kevin aren't really. I mean, they're both young men, right? Like, they're both in their very early 30s. Kev's in his mid 30s, Fetty's in his early 30s, but they're old in the rap game. Like, they've been around for a long time, so they're not a part of any street stuff, any gang stuff. They're not, you know, like they've been through all that young reckless stuff, so they're out of that world in that sense. So fortunately, there really isn't much to deal with. Um, you know, I've had to get over aggressive fans away from, you know, something possibly happening. But that, again, that's where I need to be on top of my shit when I'm doing that, because you can de-escalate something from happening before it's even close to happening if you're keeping an eye out for it and being mindful, you know?
And you just pick people up like this and just remove
Yeah. Pretty much.
I mean, that's cool though. So I mean, for you, like obviously you go out and you don't sell yourself short. Like you said it just back of like who you are a little bit and being like, yeah, like I know I'm realize I'm good enough if I can step on the NFL field and compete and do that. Like I'm good enough to kind of do what it is I want. You get in this situation, obviously, where Kevin Gates now. I mean, just talk about the game in general for you. I mean, you obviously get close to these guys, you're with them a lot. I mean, wherever they travel, I'm sure. I mean, what's the lifestyle like for you somewhat in that situation?
Um, I mean, yeah, it is nonstop. It's a lot of travel. Um, I'm pretty much gone every single weekend. There is dead periods, like, you know, a couple months leading up to tour. Like, we go on tour with Kevin next month. I think we fly out October 5th. um, but I mean, it's a lot. But after you get, like, at first when I started doing it with Fetty, it's like, oh shit, like I'm living a life that I've only seen on TV. Like, this is, and everything is exactly what you would think it is. Like, we're in Miami, we're not getting home till 7 a.m. every day. We're in the sections with who knows, you know what I mean? Like, you can meet anyone at any given time. And you know, it was just a party, like a fun work. It was, you're working, you're pretty much getting paid to party and watch your two favorite artists perform every night. Like, it's actually a crazy concept when it still hasn't hit me yet. I haven't like soaked it all in.
Yeah.
I hope I never do, because I don't ever want to lose like this little kid feeling with it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot. But I think once you get used to it and you learn how to handle yourself and realize that, you know, like, you're not that guy. Like, I'm not Fetty, I'm not Kevin. Like, I do have to put work first, which is what I do. But I would say, as far as travel goes, once you get used to that, you know, you don't burn yourself out anymore. And it's cool, man. Like, I mean, I was in Boise, Idaho last tour. Like, I would have never been there in my life if it weren't for this job. So you honestly, you appreciate little things like that more than like Club 11 in Miami, staying out till 7 a.m. Because it's like you get to see a lot of stuff that you would have died never seeing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when I think of Boise, I just think potatoes, like a bag of potatoes. Like that's what you think about in Idaho,
Yeah.
dude, like, so it
Yeah.
is cool. You get to see different parts of the country. I mean, I know for teaching, when I won like a national teaching award, they
Mm.
flew me out to like their little milking of unsung heroes, and it was in the Fort Scott, Kansas, dude, like in the middle of nowhere. But I appreciated kind of being in the middle of nowhere for a week and being shut off the big world and just kind of like living simple life a little bit. So I also get that in that token, like seeing different parts of the country that you're just like, man, life's so different here, like
Yeah, bro. Like, you can, some of the spots you like can't even believe you're in America.
right, right.
Like New Mexico. that blew my balls off. Like I could not get over how I've never been out of the country,
Yeah.
but it felt like I was in a completely different country. Like it felt like I was in the wild, wild west. So I got to experience a lot of cool stuff like that. And I would say, as far as traveling goes, that's my favorite part. People would think it's like the partying, the clubs, the arenas, but it's really just experiencing the world, you know?
How well are you flying? Like you guys flying private?
They both easily could. They just choose not to. Like I said, I think that came along with blowing up in the industry young. Like they're both really, really smart with their money. Like both really smart dudes. So they don't do the dumb shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I was just curious, dude. You know,
Yeah.
again, like you mentioned before, it's like you're like, I'm living a lifestyle that like you only see, like, you know, and so I'm just curious, like, if you that private jets, that private jet lifestyle. Um, and then do you have a song of theirs? Like, is there a song that you work out to from Fetty or Kevin Gates? He's just like kind of gets you juiced up a little bit. Is there a song that you love of theirs in particular? You kind of just love all their music.
I listen to all their stuff. I mean, being from Jersey, like Fetty was my favorite rapper growing up. I'll
How
never tell him
crazy
that.
is that, dude? How crazy is that then? Like, that's your
If
favorite rapper growing up, and then you like got him back, hung out with him, and got to live a life with him. I mean, that's kind of crazy, right?
the craziest thing ever was when I had been training him for a couple months and I didn't tell anyone but my parents. Like he even comes over to my house and like hangs out with my parents. Like we all chill. Like he's on my dad's Facebook. Like they're all cool. He's literally like my brother. But so I didn't tell anyone. And then one night we're working out. It's like 2 a.m. We're in a private gym that I have 24-hour access to, the Muscle Mill in New Jersey. Shout out to Michelle, the best gym in New Jersey. Um, so we're in there working out. And he posts me on his story. So everyone's hitting me up. Like, bro, that's crazy. I remember used to piss me off blasting his music nonstop on the bus on the way to every single game. Like, people literally remember, like, that's how big of a fan I am of him, that people knew. Like, they literally were like, bro, like that's all you listen to. So it was kind of like it still doesn't feel real. And like I said, I don't want it to, because I don't ever want it to lose that like awe factor. But they are genuinely my friends. I mean, Kevin, I've become a huge fan of his. Like his music is insane. Like lyrically, and like just the way he raps, it's next to none. And those two guys, I get to, for my job, protect two guys I love and care about and listen to their music live. So it's crazy, man. So
Dude,
yeah, I
that's
listen to all
awesome,
this.
dude. That's awesome. So you said Fetty never knew that, dude, that like you were his favorite rapper growing up. Did you say that he never? That's the first time he was saying that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell him that shit. Not
But
gonna let
that's
him know,
crazy
man.
though. That's crazy though. I mean, I guess yeah, you become so close to them because you are like their number one person. Like they were gonna rely on you for, hey, I'm going here. Wherever they're going, you're essentially going too. So you get to know them on a real cool personal level. So as you know, at my school, we have our morning show, and I have security in the office. Like, I need to be protected. We have Dominic, our second year security was in fourth grade. Now he's in my class in fifth grade. And I got to put him through the ringer a little bit. What's your advice to my security guard, Dom, my bodyguard, as we jump into our second season at the McGlynn Morning Show?
I've been watching the tape. I've seen a lot of Dom. He's a viral sensation on Instagram. I've definitely noticed him. I mean, I don't know. He seems like he's got it down. He's militant. He's very purposeful in his actions. He's a good talker. He gets, you know what I mean? He really lays down the wood. So I don't know. I think I think he just needs to keep doing what he's doing, and he'll, what I'm saying, I might be able to bring him on tour with me or something. It's looking like we need
Hey,
that. We
listen,
need the extra. I might need a little protection. You never know.
I mean, I will tell you something. He runs a tight ship. I mean, police came in, the mayor came in, the sheriff of Middlesex County, and this kid just held it down. I mean, the police officers trembled a little bit, I think personally, but there was just from 8:45 in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning, there was no fear in that office with him there. So, I'm just letting you know he's a training. He's 10 years old now. He's in double digits. I think if you need that protection, security, man, he's your guy. He's your guy.
Yeah, I think he's next up in the industry for sure.
So jump back into what we've been talking about here a little bit is you. So obviously you mentioned social media earlier, and truthfully, of a lot of people that I follow on Instagram, I pay attention to your social media a lot because I see you always having like codes. Like you obviously work with different companies and you make, I'm sure, a percentage of whatever they sell. And I kind of see you kind of have some swag on too. I've seen the 5% a lot, which I think is cool. But marketing yourself on Instagram, I mean, obviously you being a celebrity bodyguard alone is one thing, but you also are part of a lot of other stuff and really building your brand and who you are. So talk about, I guess, for me, Instagram and how you've kind of built yourself up, maybe just over the last year and who you are and like what your goals are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, people, I think a lot of people force social media, and then, when it doesn't work out for them, everyone loves to say, well, social media isn't real. It's not real life, this and that. But in reality, it is, unless you're a bullshit artist or you're just a
Right.
phony. If you're putting out some fake shit, then yeah, it's not real. But, I never, one of my old roommates, Dom, he's a real estate agent at Forbes. If he posts a listing that he just got at Forbes, that's not bullshit. That's real life. He can make a $2 million sale off that. But if you're working at Walmart, saying you have a song coming out with Kevin Gates soon, and you never spoke to the dude. Yeah, it's not real life. But you
Right.
want to lie to people and feel good about yourself. So, um, I think that's like a huge issue with social media. And it's big. Like the fitness industry has, I would say, the most issue because it's kind of it's not like other professional sports or where you really can't lie. It's kind of like the NFL. Like it is what it is, right? Like what you see on tape, it gets posted. If Derrick Henry runs you over, he ran your ass over on live TV.
No.
His stats are his stats. With fitness, it's kind of tough because people can make a bag, they can get a fat contract, and with a supplement company that they may have never tried, or the first time they tried it was when they signed the contract and the company sent them product, but it's been their favorite brand for 10 years, and that's how they built their physique. So with me, everything I do, it is real life. Like I'm not bullshitting anyone. I don't fake
Right.
it. Fitness is my number one and probably only passion in life, like for myself, as far as that goes, that I want to make a career out of. So with my brands, like 5%, it's kind of crazy. Like my life's come full circle in a lot of different aspects. Like I remember I was sitting in my apartment in Merrimack. Uh, it was on an off day from Exceed. We had an off day. I think it was like every Wednesday we had off or something. And my roommate Max, he was the other tight end, Max Alpert, one of my best friends for life. I was sitting watching YouTube in my bed. I was watching Rich Piana. He passed away, but he was the owner of 5%. He originated it all. And I was watching him at a expo. It might have been like the Arnold or something. He used to have the longest lines at every expo. So I'm watching him. My roommate Max comes in. He's like, "Yo, so like, what do you want to do after the NFL?" Like, he was the most positive, like, believing person to me ever. Like, he didn't even ask, like, "What if you don't make the NFL?" He's like, "What do you want to do after the NFL?" I was like, "Shit, this," and I pointed to the TV, and it was 5%. It was Rich Piana, and they were at an expo. I was like, I want to be a fitness athlete. And few years later, I signed a contract with Enhanced Labs, and I'm an athlete, and I'm at the booth at Mr. Olympia. And like that's when it hit me. I was like, damn, like this. I remember when I was in my bed at Merrimack. So um, now, and when I was in high school, I would save up like $300 every month. Then I would go spend it on supplements every month. And the majority of the supplements I would buy would be 5% because they're the best brand in the industry.
Yeah.
Um, and now here I am. I'm an athlete for them. I'm on contract, I'm on salary. And I wish I do. The one thing I wish is Rich was still alive because he was like, as far as a fitness influencer, former bodybuilder goes, like he was like the rock of the fitness industry. He
Yeah.
kind of did a little bit of everything. So I wish he was still around, but going back to that, I landed 5%. best supplements in the industry. Team Personal Record, who is owned by Larry Wheels, who I got to do a YouTube video with on his channel. We got to work out together. We crushed the leg day. He's one of the most impressive fitness athletes ever. I'm sponsored by one of the top meal prep companies in the industry, Mega Fit Meals. And Larry's Team Personal Records, like straps, wraps, belts, like all the weightlifting gear, you know what I mean, to keep you from getting
Yeah. So,
injured.
so how do you, so I'm just asking, like, so you get all this stuff. Is this you putting yourself out there? Or is this them finding you on social media? Or is this like avenues of knowing different people, like in different industries? I mean, you're naming a lot of stuff, dude. Like you rep a lot of brands here. Obviously, yeah, dude, you look at you, like you probably check every box for these types of companies. Like, so how do you get discovered for that stuff? Like, how did you first realize, like, damn, like my social media is just a weapon. It's like a huge weapon for me to gain, money and businesses that are interested in me supporting their brand.
I mean, I think fortunately for me is, it was pretty huge. Like I think it was either 2020 or 2021. I got verified on Instagram. Thank God it was before you could start buying them, because now no one knows who bought them or not. I just remember,
Right, dude. Yeah.
yeah. I just remember when I got verified, I was like, oh shit, like this is a weapon. Like I got recognized for things I'm doing in the fitness industry as far as bodyguarding, like, really as a trainer, like I got recognized for it. I had some big companies write blogs on me and whatnot. And then, former NFL player like the Redskins had a write up on me. Like all that comes into play. And I
Yeah.
just remember randomly getting verified after coming out of a business meeting where I left my phone in the car, and I was like, oh shit. So I knew that was a weapon. And I never really had like a big boom as far as followers goes. It's kind of gradually grown as I've done different things. Like, I went to 3 colleges, so I had a decent following because of that, because all the different schools. And then football, the NFL got me a good amount, and then fitness and acting and, all the other little things I do. So I've been gradually been growing, but it's not anything special. Like I have a very average social media as far as following goes for, the industry and doing what I do. But like going back to what I said, I think, like I get good amounts of likes. My reels don't do that well. A lot of companies base stuff off reels, like the analytics. But
Yeah.
my posts do good, but my reels really don't. So I was kind of surprised because I landed like the biggest and best companies in the fitness industry. Um, but I think that that's what they see in me, right? Like they see the passion, they see the drive, they know the belief in the company. I had receipts, right? Like I was buying their shit before
Yeah.
they ever even knew who I was. So I
Yeah.
believed in the companies, and as I'm growing, I want to grow with them. They want to grow with me. And it's like anything else. It's like it's just the effort you put in, right? If you're on the Boston Celtics and you're not working your ass off every day, someone's gonna get better than you're gonna get cut. So
Right.
you kind of gotta just, like Coach Kern, put me in that third string. I just grinded my way to where I'm at.
Yeah, you just need a reason. Like you just need a reason. And I mean, for you, what's kind of cool is this is not the first thing you've mentioned that like in your life, like you listen to Fetty and now you're his bodyguard. And in high school, you took these supplements and they were the best, and you saved up money just to take that stuff, so it's like these things as a young kid that like you enjoyed or was a part of your life, like dude, you've continued to grow that in your life. I mean, that's why I think I've honestly been so attracted to your social media, because you're right, there is not that BS from you. There's not that, like, when I look at your stuff, it's like, yeah, this dude just like wants to grow, this dude just wants to get bigger, this dude just wants to like really show people like who he is. And I see that, I'm like, this dude's just, it's only a matter of time with this guy, like, because the work ethic's there, the looks there, the social media presence is there, and like your catchphrase is like huge, like those things are gonna catch, like that stuff's just like you gotta make shirts that say that, dude. Like that's what I think. You walk around, have Kevin and have all those guys wearing those shirts for you,
Oh,
dude.
I got them. I got hats, hoodies. It's all on my
There you go.
website.
Okay, all right, there we go. Yeah. So, dude, like, yeah, I mean, that's why I was like a huge fan of you, like truthfully following your social media. Like I said, like I'm not just saying this because you're here, but that's why I've been trying to connect with you so hard, because I look at you just like chasing it. And I somewhat feel this way. Like when you talk about people putting their life out on social media, whether some of that is real or fake, like me, like I kind of put it out there 3 years ago. I did not exist on Instagram and Facebook. Like I never had that stuff personally till I started this business. And
Mhm.
now I put it all out there, like myself, the dad, myself, the teacher, myself, the family person, myself, the podcaster. Like people see who I am because I think that that's important. Like you want to see real, so you show real. And I totally agree with you on that when you say that, because there are so many like posers out there, or there's people taking that picture next to a boat in beautiful weather with the lake behind them, and it's like their neighbor's like two-door down boat. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
you
exactly.
see that stuff and you just kind of like you shake your head. But I see your stuff, it's like all business, and people go on my social media say the same thing. Like, I love being a dad. I love being a teacher. I love being like nothing on my stuff. Everything's clean. Like there's nothing I put out there that's like questionable or whatever. And like I choose to put myself out there to grow because I believe in this. And I see that in you and what you do. And I just think it's real cool to have watched you grown even over these last few months and what you're involved in for sure.
Yeah, bro. That's all it is. Just kind of like you said, like your social media is your real life as well. And mind you, like you probably could have triple the amount of followers I have right now if I faked a lot of shit or I did gimmick stuff like a lot of the other people do. But that's draining and it's not real and it's not fun. Eventually you run out of shit like that. And that's those kind of people always end up falling off. So
Yeah.
I think it's just better to post what you want to post and have fun with it, you know?
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, obviously, like I was looking up, even like Kevin Gates has like 11 million followers on Instagram, like 11.2. Like that's wild. Like, right. You could easily take a video with him and take a picture with him, and I'm sure that would help you for sure. Like, but growing it your way in the right way, I feel like with anything is just important. Like at this point, dude, you're going all in on yourself. Like, don't bet on somebody else's. Don't just do it the way that, because that's the way it's supposed to be done. Like that's when I hear people say that, I'm like, oh, that's so false though. There's not one way to do anything ever.
Yeah.
But for you, like one cool thing that I saw on one of your social media posts you were involved in, like it looked like a 2 day maybe like showcase or seminar or wherever you were at, but you got to meet CT Fletcher. And I know you and I got to talk a little bit on Instagram, but talk about meeting that guy, because he is like a YouTube legend to me. Like I've YouTube so many of this guy's videos and his workouts and what he says and how funny he is. And I got to see that you shook his hand, and I know you're getting into the whole bodybuilding world, and I want to jump into that. But I mean, talk about a guy that like that you want to emulate, I guess, somewhat in that world, because he was the guy for a long time.
Yeah, man. I remember I forget what year it was. It might have been my junior year in college when his documentary came out. And I remember watching it. And I remember at one point, I forget what part, might have had something to do with his mother, but I just remember crying. Like it hit me hard. I just remember watching it and crying. And I messaged him on Twitter and I said something along the lines like, "Hey CT, huge fan. Just watch your documentary, like blah blah blah. This part I cry, whatever." And he messaged me back.
Wow.
He said, "Thank you so much." Like, whatever. Um, so I've always followed him because that like his kind of drive, you can't fake that passion. Like that's just something you want to be around. So I had my booth at the Anaheim Fit Expo, and his booth was right behind me to the right. And I saw him, and his line was dead at the moment. So I just walked over, and we started talking. And he's with the supplement company Ambrosia, and Kevin Gates is as well. So I was like, "Hey, I'm Kevin Gates' bodyguard, the Ambrosia connection, this and that." And like he's actually invited me to train at his gym for some content and stuff. And I did a strict curl competition last weekend, my second one that I won, and his gym sponsored it, so he was there. Man, I can't tell you when you're after hearing him online all those years of my life, when I'm grabbing the bar and I'm leaning back and I'm looking down, getting ready to lift this shit, and you just hear CT in the crowd like, "Girl, let's go, champ!" Like that shit just it goes through your whole body, and you have no choice but to curl that shit. So that was insane. Just meeting him is, I've gotten to the point in life where it's like, meeting someone that's a check off the bucket list, but it didn't, it wasn't like I wasn't fangirling, whatever. It was just a great, awesome. It was like I was honored. But lifting in front of him and hearing him cheer me on, like that was something I'll never forget till the day I die. Like that was crazy.
I mean, that's even cool because I know you and I chat a little bit on Instagram about it, but to hear that level of it, him being there and like, yeah, dude, you look up and like that's a guy, like you said, you've watched, you've emulated, and you somewhat like in the industry is the guy. So real cool. How much did you curl on that? Was that 185? How much
That
was that pay?
competition, um, I did 170 as my opener,
Okay.
and I got it. But the competition I did the week or two prior, I got 180, and
Okay.
then I got 190 all the way up, but my ass came off. But this one, I went from like 170 to 190 right away or something like that, just because I want to qualify for the Arnold with my weight class. If I get 190, but this was a harder federation. There's more rules and restrictions, so I didn't get it. But I um I didn't have time to practice or prep for either show. It was kind of last minute. So now I know going forward, my coach has me on my coach John Gaglione. He's actually later wheel strength coach as well. He has me on a program now, so I'll be confident for the next one. But the last one was kind of just to practice and have fun.
I mean, so you just literally walked in and was like, "Hey, let's just do this." And I mean, 185. So you got 180 and you were like, "Oh, let me just try 190. I could literally just qualify here, like on the spot."
Yeah.
Well, this like with no training or expectation. I mean, that's pretty impressive. No, I mean, I look at that as very impressive.
Yeah, no, my coach he said like as far as numbers goes and just starting, he said I could easily be one of the best in the world in straight curling. And
Now,
it's a brand new powerlifting
I was just
uh
gonna say, like, I've never heard of that before. How new is it over the last few years?
CT Fletcher actually started it.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's sick. Like the whole backstory on it's amazing. Like it's something I'm into. I'm good at it. I want to be great at it. My goal is to be one of the best in the world now. So that's something I'm gonna
Yeah,
stick
man,
with.
you just like, and that's what I loved. You just throw it in a bucket and like swirl around you, and you're building a recipe of just like branching out in all these different areas that all tie into the same thing, which is at the end of the day, to me, I guess like bodybuilding, right? Like taking care of your body and knowing how to do that.
Yeah.
So what's like, so 190s to qualify for that? Like, what are some top like weights? I mean, how far is 190 from maybe the top as far as what has been done so far?
Um See, like I'm in there's like a 242 pound weight class.
Okay.
And then the next jump is 275. So that
Yeah.
sucks. Like I'm right in the middle and I did the competitions at like 260 on the dot. So
Yeah.
if I weighed 15 more pounds, with practice, I'm sure I could rip like, I would hope like 215 maybe. And I think 220 is the world record. So I'm not super
You're not
far,
far
but
off.
when
Yeah.
you're doing strict curl, even like 5 pounds is a big difference.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna chase it. I want I want to be the best, so might as
Now,
well,
you
right?
looking at it to go up, like you said, your weight class, you're kind of in the middle. Like, would you look to move up that weight, or would you consider moving down that weight, or have you not even put that much thought into it? Or
Well, super heavyweight, I don't even know how much that is. I'm sure it's at least 290
yeah,
or just over 275. But for bodybuilding too, like I'm trying to do it in sequence with bodybuilding. So I cannot go down to 242 because I'm not gonna have enough size unless it's during a prep. But then during prep, when you're cutting, you're so weak and fatigued, it wouldn't make sense to strict curl. So I'd have to line it up with my off season, which fortunately, if I qualify for the Arnold, I should be around 275 pounds on my bodybuilding training, and I'll be able to do the straight curl because I'll be at my strongest at that weight. So I'm trying to do it in sequence, you know what I mean? So they both make
yeah.
sense.
Now, is this? I mean, I'm just looking at bigger picture here. Is all these things that you're saying like? Does this also bring your status up in like, and I'm legit asking this. I know it's gonna sound like a ridiculous question, but like
Mm.
the bodyguard game for you, like here you are, this bodybuilder, weightlifter, like if you're winning competitions and strong, big tough. I mean, does that kick your resume up as far as like who you are? I mean, or are you kind of attached to only having one or two people based off of like a schedule? Like I'm just curious about that.
Um, I was actually, I think this was during, I think it was Rolling Loud or maybe Coachella. I forget what festival, but one of the biggest artists from one of the Hispanic speaking countries reached out to Kevin's manager, because it was being held in LA. I forget, like I said, if it was Rolling Loud or Coachella, but they reached out to Kevin's manager and specifically requested me to bodyguard for her that weekend. And I had never heard of her. And I looked her up and she had like 25 million followers and like everybody was going crazy over her. But it was it was our first weekend off. It was honestly, I think it was my first weekend off from bodyguarding in the past 3 years between Fetty and Kevin. So I was like, man, John, like it's Kev's manager, John. I was like, I really just don't want to do it. Like I don't care about her in the sense of like I don't love her. She's not my friend. Like I don't really just want to go bodyguard for her, maybe for like a picture or like some clout or whatever money I would get. I was like, I kind of just want to enjoy my weekend off, maybe go to the gym, tan by the pool, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't really know if it made sense, right? Maybe there's like a OC show, a big rapper, we're doing something in LA and I don't have anything with Kev or Fetty. Like, yeah, if like Justin Bieber wanted me at a show in LA, I don't got nothing to do and it's not far. I'll do stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I really wouldn't fully pursue anything. You know what I mean? At least I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't have any plans. Not if it would interfere with Kevin or Fetty for sure. But I don't really have any plans on venturing out much more now.
Yeah, I didn't know in that type of game like what the commitment is. Obviously, it sounds like weekend shows, like tour. I mean, there's a lot to it. I just didn't know like if you could grow in that industry or build a resume because it seems like you really are branching, like I said, everything out to grow, and it all kind of circles back to one thing. And I think that that's like what's so important that you kind of mentioned today. And maybe you've done it without even trying to, but it's like, dude, you swing for the fences, but the difference is like you're hitting it to the fences. Even if you're not hitting it over the fences, dude, you're there. Like, and how you're building yourself. What do you see for yourself next? Like, obviously, you're getting into the competitions, lifting. You're getting into bodybuilding. We haven't really even specifically talked about yet. But like, when you
Mm.
look at yourself over the next few years, where do you want to see yourself in everything that you're dabbling in now? Like, what would be an ideal for you?
Um, like me, like personally, outside of
Yeah,
bodyguarding,
like
and
maybe bodybuilding, you're in a certain spot, or in these competitions, you are one of the best in the world, or you're building your brand on social media. Maybe you want to see yourself at a certain point. Maybe you haven't even thought about it at all, but I didn't know if there was like a goal that you had specifically that you hope in a few years you hope to at least achieve.
yeah, so I haven't really pinpointed anything to a T, but um, for sure, I want to be known as one of the best trainers in California. I genuinely love, like, I find myself going over, if it's a half hour session or an hour session, I go over every single session. Like, I don't have it in me to stop one of my clients from working out until we get done with the workout I have planned. So, like, that's just something where it's like, I look at them, I'm just going to train them as if it's me training. Like, I need to get them better every single session. So, I have that passion for it. That'll never burn out. So, I definitely do want to be known as like the best trainer in California, and I want to change people's lives. As far as that, that's more of like a career thing, you
Yeah.
know. The bodyguarding and personal training with Fetty and Kevin, like I plan on staying with them, and wherever that road takes us all, I'm there for it. Um, so with the career stuff out of the way, I didn't really have any plans. See, my thing is like I love powerlifting so much, and I have the best coach in the country. Like he coaches the best powerlifter in the world, Larry Wheels, pound for pound. And he's the most famous, like, you know, and he gives all his thanks and credit to John for getting him to where he is. So, and I always had a great bench, you know, a strong bench. I could rip 225 for, I think the most I ever did was 29 reps.
Damn, dude. Damn.
Uh, yeah, like I've gotten 315 for 12.
What's your
Um,
have you done like an absolute max? Are you like a 2 or 3 rep guy and then you kind of formulate it from there?
the most I ever did was 420 pounds. I got it up clean and quick, but I never, after that, I never tried to, I don't even bench anymore. But like I was saying, like, you know, with the powerlifting, it's squat, bench, and deadlift. And I feel like to me, if you're gonna go do a meet, do the whole meet. Like I wouldn't just go bench and then leave. Um, outside of strict curling, because that's powerlifting, but it's its own day.
Yeah.
And I just kept, like my lower back's a little tweaked, my knees from all the football and basketball. You do take a beating. So I found myself every time I hit a good stride in powerlifting, I would tweak something. Then the frustration of it overcame the love for it. It was insensible, but I wanted to stay in it because he's such a great coach, and I enjoy just getting that that one strong ass lift.
Yeah, yeah.
So with the strict curl, after hearing his thoughts on me and whatnot, I would like to win the Arnold at some point. My next goal is definitely to qualify for it and compete in it, but I do want to win it one day for strict curl. And my bodybuilding coach, Paco, he trains current pros, current champions. He himself is one pro win away from qualifying for the Mr. Olympia. He's in the physique, so he wears the board shorts. He's super shredded. Great coach. And, you know, even though I don't take steroids, the training, the diet, the supplements I do take from 5%, the sleep, I do everything as if I'm already competing for the Olympia. Like I from when I wake up and go to bed, it's my routine. And the progress I've made with him is crazy. He really thinks, next year I'm gonna just do a 3-show sweep and go pro. So that's kind of the goal. I'm not gonna say right now one of my goals to win a Mr. Olympia and like beat C-Bum or whatever, but obviously I want to do it. But my goal is I want to be a professional bodybuilder and I want to compete in the Mr. Olympia because, like I said earlier, it's the same thing with everything else I do. I know I have it in me to get to the highest level of what I'm doing. So if I know I can, I'm not being respectful to myself and I'm not giving myself 110% effort if I'm not going and doing it. So those are kind of my goals in fitness.
And that's amazing because it's like, obviously, like you said, like you go back to these other connections or music that you listen to or things that we were interested in. And in this case, like I'm sure you were always, especially in high school, playing 2 sports and getting bigger and getting stronger. And that's how schools are recruiting you from jump, anyways, when you are just kind of a different athlete out there. So you bench 420. What's the most you've ever deadlifted? What's the most you've ever squatted?
Um, I was younger when I did the squat. I think I was like 19. I got 495, but then I partially tore my meniscus that year, and it never. I guess like getting jumper's knee and the tendonitis and shit in my knees, it never felt the same. I'd always get these sharp pains when I lift.
Yeah.
So I never really went for anything crazy like that again. I mean, I could probably squat 315 for like 25 reps if I really just went balls out and went till I was about to
Yeah.
pass out. But yeah, 495 was the most I ever did or even attempted, and I got it. Um, Deadlift, I don't know. I think I've done like 450 for reps. I never really got into deadlifting because like I said, I don't know, it was something about basketball that just, because
Yeah.
I could windmill, I could do like 360 dunks, I could do a bunch of shit that at my weight probably isn't the best. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, and I mean, you obviously, like, to me, like always being a coach, like I used to always be terrified when kids put a lot of weight on deadlifts because 90% of those kids or 95% of those kids don't know the right form, don't know how to really do it. And that's something you could really hurt yourself. I feel like that's the one exercise I always avoided because I didn't really know how to do it right. And I wasn't about to kill myself or hurt myself or pull something just to be like, yeah, I got this weight. But I know deadlifting
yeah.
is like the most important thing to do because it really is your whole body if you are doing it right, or it's a lot of parts of your body if you're doing it correctly.
Yeah, deadlifting is really only necessary if you're powerlifting. That's why, in football and basketball, they'll have us do either uh, hang cleans or power cleans because it's a lower weight version of a deadlift, also with more upper body work. So,
Yeah.
that's why you don't see too much deadlifting in sports as a necessity, at least.
Yeah. No, yeah. I was honestly, I mean, I get it and I get it in the understanding of it, but it'd be one exercise like, ugh, just if you do it the wrong way, man, you get hurt. You mentioned
Yeah.
obviously hoop, and I saw on your Instagram you played in like an alumni type basketball game. You mentioned your 360 jam, and I think during warmups you threw some down. What was your stat line that game? I was so curious because I didn't get to see the game, but I saw the highlights, and obviously you were the biggest mountain there, dude. You were bigger than everybody else there. So how'd you do in that game?
Yeah, so that was that's called the Crew League. It's like they do it every year. Uh Diddy's manager runs it. Um Eli, he's actually a Bishop Bar graduate. I never knew until the day of the tournament, which is crazy. That's where I went to high school, Bishop Bar, New
Yeah,
Jersey.
it's the third guy now. That's funny.
Yeah. um but yeah, it's pretty much just rappers and their crews. You play in a money tournament. It's one game elimination. If you lose, it's by ones and twos. You play to 21. Um, the other team had like two G League players. It goes by super quick, right? Like I had a slow. It took me a second to get going, but once I did, if I was in the whole game, I think I could have really took over. But I had 3 points and 3 rebounds. Like it was nothing. I had the most rebounds on the team, but it was just three. It wasn't really anything like.
Was that your first one playing with him?
Yeah, that was the first time he ever entered it too. So
That's cool. That it seemed pretty cool. Yeah, like you guys all kind of came out the tunnel. You had a little bit of like a 10-second screening like you would like on a Monday Night Football or whatever. But that
yeah,
was cool, man. That was really cool. Um, your story is even better than I thought in the sense of like kind of I had an idea of like this guy's a hustler to kind of hear all the things you ventured to and worked at and kind of how you look at yourself. What would be your advice to just like young athletes out there, maybe specifically guys that are getting towards the end of their college playing careers and maybe the NFL ends up not being the right path that was something that they wanted? What would be advice to those guys as far as following that next step and maybe believing in themselves? Kind of, I mean, that's somewhat the story that you've been really telling throughout this.
I would say the number one thing um that really like just straight up like changed my life and my whole aspect and view on life was that and this is going to happen, this will happen to every single athlete listening to this podcast. Once it ends, for the absolute final time, like for me, there was no more callbacks. My agent said that's it. You you completely lose your identity. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't like it. It honestly felt, I want to say, for like about a half a year, maybe 3 months. It really felt like this. Like you just felt like a zombie. Like I felt like I was just walking around in a cloud from the second I woke up till I went to bed. And I had even stopped working out at one point, which is my favorite thing on earth to do. And I completely lost myself. I was like, damn, like this would, like when I said it to my parents in the family room in fifth grade, I'll never forget. It was the Vikings were playing the Packers. Randy Moss caught that touchdown and pretended to moon the crowd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I was playing like knee football, with my dog, like messing around. I was in fifth grade, and I was like, oh, like I was like to my parents, like I want to play in the NFL, like I want to do this. And they were both like, yeah, you will. Just work hard, 110% effort and respect, and you'll get there. And I got there, and it happened so quick. And like everyone's always like, oh, well, at least you got there. Like that's all that matters. But it wasn't. Like I didn't care about the name on the back of the jersey being sold, the money. Like I just wanted to play football. That was my identity. So, or at least I thought, right? So once I realized that that wasn't my identity, and my true identity was, I made it there. And with that, I took I can make it to the top in any profession that I choose to chase. So I took that. I was like, all right, well, this is my true identity. It's I can literally accomplish anything I want to accomplish. Not something that someone else wants to do, someone else thinks I should do, because no one's gonna ever see your dream. Like only you are.
Yeah.
No one else is gonna feel it for you, know exactly what it is, understand it. So I would say once you feel like you've lost your identity, that's when you're really gonna find what your identity is. And that's kind of what I got from that, is that mine was just I can do whatever I want at the
Yeah.
top of the field because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and I think that that's great. I mean, I think sometimes the only way you really find out what you want to do is what you can sometimes find out what you're capable of doing. And sometimes it takes finding out what you're capable of doing to realize you can do what you want. And that's kind of the message that at least I've taken from you today is just like, yeah, I mean, you never want to sell yourself short on something based off of like one thing that doesn't go your way or whatever. And for you, it seems to be that journey, that chase of like finding something and then finding something from that and then being like, I want to do this. And you seem like you're charismatic and strong enough or raw enough, depending on whatever it is that you're participating in, to just naturally walk in there and be like, damn, if this guy puts a little work into it, a little effort into it, a little training into it, and understands it more, yeah, man, the sky is beyond the limit for you. And I think that that's, yeah, dude, I'm really glad I had you on here today because you kind of literally have checked all the boxes that I've noticed in your social media. And like for me, it's the same thing, dude. Like I put my stuff out there. I work 4 jobs, like in order to make this work. Like I chase this because I know what I do in this area, it doesn't exist. And as someone who's coached for a really long time and has always said, like, man, I wish as a Catholic or private school, we could get a little bit more recognition or get a little bit more of what we do and how we run our program. And now high schools are begging for us to do this around here. Now even colleges are starting to dabble into what we do and ask us what we're about and working with schools. So I get chasing a dream, dude. And sometimes everyone thinks you're crazy for chasing it, or you might not have all the answers to the dream that you're chasing at that point, because like you said, like you don't know yet. You don't know where the last stop is, because every stop you go to, it leads to 2 or 3 more roads that you get to travel down and figure out what your step is. So
Yeah,
dude, be proud of yourself for what you've accomplished. I think that there's just so much more for you, dude. You're just like tapping into it right now, like, and it's cool to
yeah.
see. It really is. And then for, obviously, like for you, like you have a lot of goals, and you're looking to dabble into everything else and take those next steps. For you, you have anything coming up soon, anything that you want to shout out, anything that you got going on that we should be paying attention to in your life here, as far as work goes or business goes or weightlifting goes, anything like that?
Um, Man, I just been grinding, training all these clients because tour's coming up quick. But yeah, I'm gonna be on the first leg of tour October 5th through like November 7th, and then we get a little break till about November 26th or 28th, and then back on the road for the second leg of tour till about December 23rd.
Yeah.
Then I'm going home, spending the holidays in New Jersey with the family, and I'm going to be competing in a strict curl competition December 30th in Connecticut, and that's where I'm going to try and qualify for the Arnold. And then second I get back to Cali, the 31st is I'm chasing the pro card for bodybuilding. It's just going to be different animal. You got to get into that zone, turn the world off, and just chase it. So that'll be my
Yeah.
next goal.
That's cool. Where in Connecticut? Where in Connecticut are you gonna be?
Um, I'm not sure. I forget. I have to look that up.
All right, cool. Yeah, maybe Connecticut's not too far from me, man. Maybe we could. If I pop down there and you do that, and maybe videotape some stuff if the distance is right and the timing works. Like, yeah, I'd be
Yeah,
very,
it'd be sick.
yeah. Well, that's great, man. And again, I want to thank you for popping on here today. Like I said, I've been following you for a while. If you guys don't follow him, is it at D_Scuddy? Is that, I don't have it right in front of me. What's your
Yeah,
Instagram handle?
yeah.
All right, so at D_Scuddy. I mean, check this guy out. I mean, his social media posts, he's huge, dude. He's a freaking monster. And these competitions that he's talking about, these straight arm curls, he has videos that are posted on there, and he literally does it with ease. Like I'm not even joking. It like looks like I'm like, is that his practice rep, or is that was like his rep? Like, so he's not wrong in saying that. He's a natural at it, because you see his videos that are posted and it's cool to see. So really check him out. This guy's on to many things. I think we're just hearing it, and I'll have him back on when he's bigger and as he says, huge. So no, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate you making this work with your timing, and you got tour coming up soon. So to do this for me is much appreciated.
I appreciate you having me on, bro. It's a good opportunity. Glad
Yeah.
we got to talk.
We got some good sound bites here for sure, dude. Definitely some good sound bites here for sure. So, but guys, all right, next week we're off on our football coverage, but after that, we're back at Shawsheen Tech. We're going to be at Arlington Catholic, we're going to be Arlington High School, Kip Academy, Neshoba Tech. I mean, we're pretty loaded up our Friday nights. We had a great game in Wilmington that we just caught. Dominant second half by Wilmington. So, our beyond record over the last few years is actually insane. Like when we go and cover games for football, I think over the last 2 years, we're like 11-4. Like our record's like incredible. So teams that are listening out there, we tell these athletes, book us for your game. Our winning percentage is like 600-700%. So it's up there in the percentage of winning. So, but seriously, thank you for coming on again, Dillon. You're the man, dude. We wish you the best. And guys, take pay attention to the social media. We got a few things popping out and our guest list for next week. So this is Anthony Petralis from Beyond Podcast. Till next time, guys.